except for that guy who's got a shield on the end of his thing. Now, Florentine is kind of a baby, so I'm going to be a little more passionate about this than I was Sword and Shield. But, so there's one big difference between fighting Florentine and fighting anything else. And that is movement. You want to move around. Like all this stuff I'm showing you with sword and board, we're, taking little steps, moving around. Florentine, when I fight Florentine, it's like, unless like last night we were in like a driveway, so I was like, boom, moving right in front of people. But normally when I'm fighting, if I'm out at the park, moving around, circling people just all the time, moving around, waiting for them to close in on me, boom. Throwing when you're falling back is another big difference between Florentine, because you don't do that shield. Like if you're falling back, like maybe you're kind of shield checking them, but you're not throwing shots with the intent to harm. Whereas in Florentine, you'll do that. Right? You're like, boom, like arms and stuff. Florentine is way more movement based than any of the other styles, even single sword. Another big difference, and this is what everybody learns when everybody starts Amp Guard and picks up Florentine. Is like Florentine's the aggressive style. You gotta like always be pushing. Like if you want to win a Florentine fight, you gotta be the first person to get off, right? And it's just wrong. Right? You can fight defensive Florentine. There's no problem with that at all. Making people throw, catching them. You can counter strike as a Florentiner. That's fun too. Just like get down low, make them throw big shots. Boom. It's harder on shield guys because they really want to stick behind that shield. Can you get your shield real quick?
I like that.
Huh? Right? So they want to stay behind this shield, right? That's where they feel comfortable, right? Right? They, if they start pushing and coming out, they start moving around, they don't feel as comfortable. And the reason is because they're not very well protected. Right? They got a big, huge thing in front of them that's moving around and it isn't protecting any of the stuff they need to protect. Boom, you can hit them all over the place. So they want to get down in that good stance and stay behind that shield. Right? So it's hard to get them to throw. So you come in here, boom, right? Boom. Florentine is very reactionary style. Other big difference between Florentine, this is something you're not going to notice unless you're not going to notice it between two shield fighters, you're not going to notice it between two single sword fighters. It's like there's this kind of no man's land between two fighters when you're fighting, right? And it kind of naturally maintains its own borders. Unless somebody super closes in on it and you guys get all shield to shield, right? This kind of no man's land kind of naturally maintains itself. Because everybody's kind of because that's the range, right? He wants to stay just outside of my range and I want to stay just outside of his. And it kind of this little spot develops between two people and it maintains itself because my range is maintained and so is his. As a Florentine fighter, I want to take it. I want to make it mine. And all I have to do is this. Now, the range that he has to close to hit me is the distance between his sword and my body plus the angle at which his arm is dangling downward. Right? Because when you hit somebody, everything is all laid out straight. So that the distance that he has to close to hit me is this distance between the tip of his sword and my body, plus whatever linear distance this angle of my arm adds up to, right? So boom, that's his range. Like if you could measure this out, right? It's something like that. Boom, right? Now, the problem is, look how much closer the tips of my swords are than the tip of his. The difference though, is look how straight my arm is. So I'm essentially already at max distance, but he feels super threatened. Like if this is max distance, I couldn't really hit him in the shoulders from here, but he feels like he can't come into this zone because he's gonna get hit, right? I mean, the distance is the same, but it's like he's super threatened by this because my swords are up in his face and this distance between us, that belongs to me now, it's mine. You want to hit me, you have to come into my land to do it. Right? Warp on him as soon as he steps into it. Right? And he's a shield fighter. He has to close to hit people. He has to catch a block and then move in. There's multiple steps that he has to go through. There's a process he has to go through to get close enough to hit me. And if I'm holding this zone, it's like a demilitarized zone for him. He can't enter it. right? Because it's dangerous for him as soon as I'm throwing shots at him, just checking him off, moving backward too. Anytime he tries to like get something going, or anytime he tries to like